Good afternoon, everybody. Today, I am here to make a Path of Exile build video, and today we are looking at Blazing Salvo Totems. Now, I know the general consensus, and the reason I'm making this video is because I haven't heard anything good about Blazing Salvo. Everyone's talking how it's weak, how it's not a good skill, as well as many of the other skills of the league, and many seem to have been let down. I decided to league start Blazing Salvo Totems. I saw potential. A little bit of background. I play Totems most leagues, like Spectral Throw, and then I've gone to Totems pretty much after that. I've done a little bit of Impale here and there, but I played your Arc Totems, your Freezing Pulse Totems. I played a lot of Ice Spear, Divine Ire Totems. So Totems is one of my better builds. Now, I'm not saying I'm an amazing player. I think I'm pretty decent. I only play softcore. I don't like getting into hardcore. I played a lot of Grim Dawn as well. Played some hardcore there. It was a game I was pretty good at. That's one I would say I'm pretty good at. Diablo 3 was another game I put a lot of hours into. But today I'm going to make a video showing you that Blazing Salvo is not a shit skill. It's not as bad as people think. So, how the build works is you are putting Blazing Salvo on totems. So in the end, for this build for instance, you'll have 4 totems, and they will just shoot projectiles. And how the skill works is if the enemies are far away, it will spread out and hit as many enemies as it can with all its projectiles. If they're close, it can do overlap damage. So the build has both potential for boss and mob clear. Now, the biggest thing is the damage numbers on the skill itself, right here, are not that great. This is a level 22, and it only caps at 293, and to a lot of people that seems low. It's like, that's a really low number. But you're getting 8 projectiles at this level. At a level, once you get 21, you get up to 8 projectiles, and they're each doing that point of damage. So it actually ends up stacking up, and with a decent amount of cast speed, it can be quick. So more or less what you do is you'll throw a bunch of totems down, you'll get in a safe spot, your totems will clear, you can keep moving forward, flame dash forward, or whatever skill you'd want to use, and you just go into the next pack, and so on and so on. So we're going to go over the gear first, and then I'm going to go over how to level. I'm going to go over what it's done endgame, and then I'm going to show a map demo, as always, to give you guys an idea of what this is capable of. So for gear, for the wand, and I'll kind of go over price I do each one. We started with this wand here. It's just a simple caster wand. It has a little bit of crit multi-crit, +1 to fire gems, which is very good if you don't have a level 21 salvo. That 21 gets you that extra projectile, so it's very big. So we have our gear, which is a little bit of spell damage, a little bit of crit multi, a little bit of cast speed. It ends up being a pretty good DPS upgrade. And I think I paid under 40 chaos for this wand. I think I got a good deal on it, but I think it was under 40 chaos. It was early league, so I ended up picking that up. And then the next big thing for the build, this is something you can get later. I didn't have it for a while. It's a Shaper Shield. So Shaper Shields can roll the +1 max number of totems, so it can get you up to 4 totems. And it's more important than ever because for people that don't know, is most totem builds used to use a Soul Mantle, which would give you Spell Totem for free and an extra totem. And you could either have the choice of running 2 rings plus a passive to negate the curses that would come with that chest on you and get damage bonus from them, or you could run a 15 Exalt shield called an Aziri's Reflection, which a lot of people don't want to do, especially when they're trying to budget. So that chest got killed this patch. They pretty much increased the curse effect, so you can't do that. So that chest is no longer any good unless you have the Aziri's Reflection. So you're going to want the shield eventually. I paid about an Exalt for this, and I'm pretty sure I slammed it and got the 9 spell block, which is okay. So simple shield, a little bit of life. You want some crit spells. I kind of have a filler on the prefix right now. I might change that later. But it's an okay shield, about an Exalt there. And then for the chest, this is the most exciting part. So they buffed Shroud of Lightless. The Ellie pen on it is now 25, which in comparison is the same as a level 20 of the Fire, Lightning, or Cold pen. So it's just as good, and it penetrates all 3. Gives a decent amount of life. It's a 5 link, but it's technically a 6 because of the Elemental pen. So you're getting a 6 link, and these things right now cost like 50 chaos. They're super cheap, gets the build going. I'm probably going to keep it there. I've debated maybe swapping to like a Pharaoh's Fur late game or a Carcass Jack, but I've liked what this has done, so this has been a very good budget option. After that, we got the gloves. Now the gloves, these ones you can play with. I decided to go for a corrupted pair with just high life and a couple resists. I didn't really care about anything else in them. And the most important thing was the curse on hit, the elemental weakness. So it's a free curse. Your totems will apply it for you. You don't have to worry about that. Your totems will just keep applying it. And yeah, it's just a good amount of life. I think I paid about 40 chaos for those. You can probably get a worse pair for much cheaper. There's a ton of them up. Then we got the belt. I think I paid, like, again, about 40 chaos for this. Just so you're simple, just leather belt. It could be any belt. A little bit of life, couple resist. Got a little bit chaos resist on here. Could definitely be upgraded. It was just something I bought early and I haven't had to change yet. Haven't really found an upgrade, so just very simple. Fills the slot. And then we got the boots here. So I crafted these. I altered them until I got the life, and then I hit the strength, which I really need, because you need a one. I needed at least one item slot with strength to make sure I had the strength requirement. So when I did that, I then regaled. So wait, I got the life, and I regaled into the strength, and then I exalt slam twice, and I got I think the fire res. And then I put the lightning, so it ended up working out. They're great boots. They do exactly what I need them to. Then we got the helmet. I found this. Triple res, a little bit of life. Obviously, if you can get the enchant for +1 projectile and Blazing Salvo, you want that. I was kind of looking around because my fire resist, if you look right now, is like super overcapped, so I can definitely cut the fire and probably get a Blazing Salvo helm for like an exalt or two. It's definitely the option you want to go. That's definitely the best enchant I'd see. After that, we got our rings. So, Snake Pit has some good caster mods. I have it caster at Catalyst as well to bring up the spell and cast speed. Gives a little bit of resist. Now, on the left of ring slot, it lets your projectiles fork. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't know exactly how it's working, because there's two things. When they first released Blazing Salvo patch notes, they said it would just explode again when it forked. So when you think of that, you think of it just double proccing its damage. And it very well could be doing that, because I noticed a big increase once I put this ring on and was using the fork gem before I got the ring. But I can't confirm, but all I'll say is the clear is very nice. It made the clear very good, so I think it's definitely worth the ring slot regardless. And if you're getting the other bonus, which I'm not 100% sure on if I'm being honest, it's great. Then that ends up being just a huge multiplier. But these rings right now, I think I paid 2 exalts. I think they're hovering between like 2 to 4. They could have been down by now. I really haven't checked. But it's a very good ring. You don't have to get it right away. I didn't get it too much later. I just ran fork in my thing until then, and that's totally fine. The next ring, just simple resist, high HP. That's really what you need out of it. There's some cool new rings you can get that give like extra suffixes and less prefixes, so you could technically get a like quad resist ring. But in this case, again, just like the strength you need, you're gonna need one slot with a little bit of dex. So I decided to get the dex in the ring. I think I paid 80 chaos for this ring. It's pretty good. It does pretty much all I need. It has some stuff I don't need, like the fire damage to attacks, but it's okay. Works out. Now this neck I found, you could probably find a similar one for doing 30 chaos and under. It's just high HP, a little bit more dex again, because I think I did need it. And then it has crit multi, and a little bit of life. So covers all the bases. Pretty much standard gear. Now, if we go to the pots, we're just going to have your standard bleeding pot. Nothing special. And I really haven't rolled my pots too much. This could be much better, but we have just a bleeding pot. And Xeris gives some extra damage, gives the chaos res, which could be good with all the chaos damage out nowadays. So I always usually go as flash. They're pretty cheap. They're usually under 5 chaos. Maybe 10, 15 if you want a perfect roll. Like I got a perfect elemental. I paid, I think, 10. Dying Sun. These are about 2 exalts and under. Really good. It pretty much... You don't even care about the fire resist. It's just the skills fire up 2 extra projectiles. So each of your toes will be nailing out 2 extra projectiles. And then the area also affects Blazing Salvo. Then we got Diamond Flask with freeze immunity, just to make sure our crit's a little bit better. And then we got the Quicksilver with the extra movement speed. Now, if we go into skill gems, I'll show you my links and I'll kind of explain them, because some people are kind of confused. So, on why I'm running what I'm doing, but it makes sense, I promise. So we got the Blazing Salvo. It's a level 22. 21's all you need, so you can either get the skill gem to 21 or get a +1 fire on multiple areas. I think you can get it on here, get it here, and you can get it here. So we got the Blazing Salvo as our main skill. You got to have Spell Totem since we no longer have Soul Mantle. So Spell Totem has to be in there. Obviously, the higher level you can get, the better and less damaging cast speed penalty you will get. So you will eventually want to try and get a 21 of this, most likely. So we have added lightning and added cold. So if you look at the builder, added lightning is actually way up there. And added cold is only behind crit damage and just barely. And the reason we run these is we're not doing our standard shock, freeze, and ignite. We're actually doing scorching, brittling, and sapping. So we're actually raising our crit, we're making the enemy do a little less damage, and we're lowering their fire res. So these two end up being okay, and the flat damage, since the flat damage on Blazing Salvo is so low to begin with, ends up being okay. And if you look at the tooltip, I'm doing a little bit of everything. So that's what we're running those. We're running these two, because some people said I should be running Combustion, but I tried it and it wasn't nearly as good, and the builder doesn't show it's nearly as good, so I kind of just been liking these two. They've been working good. And then Control Destruction, just a very safe, more spell damage. The crit reduction doesn't really matter, it doesn't hurt that much. And then, I guess I'll show this through. Just an Abyss Jewel, just standard life, a little bit of damage. We're not getting the dual wielding. I was dual wielding at the time when I bought it, so I'll probably change it, but crit multi and a little bit of fire damage spells, just a simple jewel. If we look at our next links, for auras, I'm running Zealotry. You're getting spell damage, some more crit, and you're making Common Ground, which is cool. We're running Flesh and Stone to get the blinding when enemies are near you, because you're constantly moving this build. Suppose you're moving into packs, and you want to be careful. You're also getting the damage reduction from things outer range. And then we got Herald of Ash, just extra fire damage. It's giving a big spread of damage when stuff dies. It's been pretty solid. And I bought an Enlighten 3 on day 1 of the league, I think for 60C, and I valed it and I got an Enlighten 4. You don't need a 4, a 3 is fine, but the 4 definitely is nice. If you can look, well, this guy's an overlay, there we go. I'm sitting on about like 323 mana, but it's not a problem, it really isn't. Because your mana is always up between Arcade Surge and having totems out, and you're not just like spamming buttons, you're kind of playing more strategic. So those are the auras I'm running, so we're running 3. If we go to the gloves, I haven't got to because I'm very lazy when I get to maps, and I play softcore and I don't take it. I don't have to worry so much because I'm not worried about like dying and insta-ripping. I don't care if I die. I just play for fun. We're running a Val Cold Snap. So Cold Snap on my Q. When you put that down, anything that dies in it has a chance to give you a Frenzy Charge. And when you have the Val version up, it will put a spiral around you, and anything you run into, every second will give you a Frenzy Charge. So it's for bosses, pretty much. So we're running that with an increased duration just to make it sit on the ground longer. If we go to the wand, we got Val Righteous Fire. You don't run the Righteous Fire because it will kill you. The Val Righteous Fire will take a little bit of your health, but with this build you regen health very quick because you get 1% per totem down with the Ascendancy. So you will run this. It will just give you a big chunk of spell damage when you need it on bosses or hard packs, or in the current heist when there's like a million yellows behind a door. Sigil Power, very simple. You put it down, has a pretty big area with this build. When you spend so much mana, it gets stages. The stages will add flat lightning damage, and once you get to back stages, which is 4, you'll get a bunch of DR for standing in it. It's a very simple build. Your totems cost like 161, so you actually get the stages pretty quick. So that's what we're doing with that. And increased duration on both these because you want them to last. We then got your standard Flame Dash, which is level 22 because of the +1 fire, and it's 21 gem. And you got the Arcade Search 4, which means every time I Flame Dash, because you want too high because then it won't proc, but every time you Flame Dash, you will get Arcade Surge, which is more spell damage and cast speed and some mana regen. So every time you Flame Dash, you're keeping up a damage buff, so you want to keep Flame Dashing as much as you can, and then faster casting to make it quick. And then finally, we have a 4-link on Flamewall, Area, Spell Cascade, and Duration. And the reason we do this, so with a Hierophant Totem build, there's a node on the left side of the keystone, or left side of the tree, it's a keystone, and it says you can't do damage, but you get an extra totem. So we don't use the firewall for damage, we just pretty much put it down, put our totems in it, and our totems can still shoot through the wall and get the fire damage bonus because I'm not doing the damage. So it's pretty much just a thing. So a typical encounter will be me like moving, putting totems down as I walk, flame dashing totem, flame dashing totem. If I see a pack, I'll quickly put that down, and I'll try and get this down if I can. So it'll be like that. And then my totems will be firing through it. So that's a typical movement why we're running Flamewall. So those are the gems. And then we'll go into the passive tree. So for the passive tree, we start over in Templar. We go over here, pick up some of the life, the area, the crit. Make our way over. We're picking up life, picking up a jewel socket, which we'll go in a second. We'll go over the cluster in a second too. Go over here, pick up the cluster. You want this one. You're grabbing as much crit as you can see. The life. You go over here to bond. This is the +1 totem, but you can't deal damage yourself. You want to get this because it's a huge damage. Some more life. You take this because this with Enlightened 3 will let you run all 3 auras and not have the mana issues. So you're going to want this at some point. You don't have to get it later. Like, I'm pretty sure I hit level 80 before I even thought about putting Flesh of Stone on. It was like a much later thought. So this can come much later. Same with most of the jewel sockets except one, which we'll get into. Then you come over. There's more crit here. Some more cast speed and fire damage, health, crit. This is just good because you do have, it's just a big damage increase because you do have 1348 max mana. It's still something. Some crit multi, some more crit, some life, more life, jewel socket, projectile speed, which helps the build, area and damage, so it hits your skill in 3 ways. Very good. Or crit and cast speed. So if we go over the jewels really quick, there's this. This is just whatever. It's a totem damage multi life. Does a little bit of everything, helps the build. And then, if we got another skill point, we'd definitely grab another jewel socket and get something else like that and probably remove this node, the 25 crit chance. We don't need that, but we'd grab that. And this is the most important one. You want to get this early when you get totems. So it's Rain of Splinters. They're not expensive. They're really cheap depending on the roll, but they can roll between 50 to 30% reduced damage. Now that's reduced. You are not multiplying reducing your damage. Like, I'm going to show you my tooltip standing still. It's a 17k. If I pull that out, I only go up to 18k. So you're not losing a lot of damage, and you're getting 2 projectiles per totem. So in context, guys, I want to explain this. You have your Blazing Salvo, right? You have your Blazing Salvo. So we're going to get back to the skill tree in a second, but I just want to show this. So it says I have almost 3 casts a second. Blazing Salvo by default at level 21 shoots 8 projectiles, okay? You're getting 10 because of the Rain of Splinters, so that's 2 more, so 10. You're getting another 2 when Dying Sun is up, which this build is clearing, so that's 12. If you get the Helm enchant, you're getting 13. You don't need GMP, you don't need LMP, you don't need any of that. You are getting 13 projectiles per totem, so you have 4 totems. So that's 52 projectiles. And then they're each shooting that almost 3 times a second. So you're almost getting 150 projectiles a second, whether that's on a pack or a boss. So if you stack them on a boss like this, let's take the back place of the boss, this will just nuke the shit out of them. So the damage might look low, but when you have that many projectiles hit, so it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Now if we go back to the tree, to show really quick, on the cluster jewel here, we get one that guarantees sleepless sentries. This lets you have onslaught when you have a totem out, and it makes your totems last a little longer. So this one's great because it's just free onslaught. Don't have to think about it. You put a totem down, you're constantly casting totems, you're getting onslaught the whole time. Now this next node's up to you. I got it, I kept it because I rolled the jewel myself, but 10% cast speed when you put a totem. So more or less what this equates to, when I put a totem down, I'm getting 30% cast speed. It's huge. Really huge. And then with the Arcade Surge up, it's like just a big cast speed multiplier, like that we're getting. The other option you go to if you're lazy and you'd rather run a different movement skill, like you want to try Fortify, which is possible with Shield Charge, you could totally run one that says you get Arcane Surge when you cast the totem. That is the thing you can do too. We get 1 socket, so you want one that costs 4, not 6, because it'll take too many points. So you want a 4 socket one, and then or 4 node one with 1 socket, and then you want to pick up Secrets of Suffering. So it makes it so you can't ignite, chill, and shock, but your critical strikes is like Scorch, Brutal, and Sap. So Scorch is you get up to 30% fire pen, which will happen on mobs. Maybe not so much on bosses, but you get some of it. Brittle will just give you crit from the added cold that you have, and Sap will lower damage. So we're constantly critting, and the Brittle's helping us crit more. So that's the idea behind the build. As in regards to leveling, I will say I went the hard way, and I almost quit my build because I like rush. I usually went like this, up to here, went right to totems, and then I went down here and picked up this, and it's like Blazing Salvo is really weak early. Like the first like 10 levels, I think until Act 3, I was really disappointed how weak it was. Like I was one of the guys who struggled on Oak, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And I know he was kind of bugged, but I struggled on him. And I struggled on most bosses. Like Vol was a pain, and it was like it was really bad. I was actually doubting the build. And then you get to like level 12 on Blazing Salvo, and you start getting a couple more supports, and you get your first Ascendancy, which we'll go over in a second. And it's like now you have 3 totems. And then I started noticing a significant damage upgrade, and then things started getting easier, and then easier, and then easier. Once Fork gets added, the build's great. Like if you get a tab that get Fork in early, you're fucking rolling. And that's where you start seeing the big difference, and you're like, oh shit, this skill might not be shit. And as for Ascendancy Order, go this first. This will give you +1 totem, extra duration, 6% damage per totem killed. That totem kills recently, and cast speed when you have a totem out. So, very simple. It will get you your 3rd totem after the node. You'll be great there. You'll be good for maps for a while. Then next I got this. This gives you 3% more damage per totem. So in my case it's 12, because I got 4 totems. It gives you a total of 0.5 mana regen per second and 1% life regen per totem out. So that's 2 mana and 4 life. And then whenever you summon a totem, the best part, you get 2. You get 2 totems. So bam. 2 casts, all your totems are. That's simple. After that, it's really preference, but I got this. This makes it so you have a chance to gain a power charge when you summon a totem, and also gain a power charge when your totems kill. And you also have a chance to get an endurance charge when you gain a power charge. And then it also gives you reduced elemental damage taken when you have an endurance charge, and you pen a little bit more when you have a power charge. So this is always up. You just gonna see here, throw a couple. There's the power charge. Sometimes it takes some of there's the endurance. You guys got 2, 3 power charges. So you're just getting them, and when they're killing too, they're gonna keep refreshing. So that one's good. And the last one, this node's actually really good. You don't benefit from the spell damage leech, but you're getting 40% increased damage, 50 because of this, some mana regen. And then you're getting increased area effect when you have Arcane Surge, which is huge because it benefits everything in this build. Like, look at that sigil size, or firewall size. They get pretty big, or crossing over. There's just a lot of good things about it. So that's what we get saying about that. When we talk as how to level it, I would probably just stick with like firewall, honestly, until you get to Act 3 and can get this. This right here, Pursuit of Faith, the +1 totem. I'd probably refrain, and then I'd put that, and then you can start transitioning to Blazing Salvo Totems. That's how I do it. And generally, I path around here. I pick up this, pick up the life on the way. Don't touch this or the crit for a while. You don't need to. I pretty much path around and pick up all like the survivability, all the flat damage, the cast speed. Make it over here to get some of the dex, because you need the dex, so get the dex early if you can. And yeah, that's what we do. And then get 1 jewel socket early as soon as you have the totems going. Get 1 jewel socket and get a rain of splinters, and then you can start working on the crit and filling all that later. You can get some of the area. You could even get this, which I probably will at some point. I'm holding points, so we will probably grab that, and that's what I do there. As terms of endgame, with this completing, it's doing tier 16 maps pretty easily, for the most part. It's doing heist, like level 83 contracts with no problem, grand heist with no problem. I did a delirium and I got it up to 8, and I had both bosses there. It took a while because it's like delirium level 8, but I was able to do it. It's killed Awakener 5. I haven't really tried for 8, to be honest. Delving, it's pretty good. You throw a totem and you move. It pretty much does everything, and we're just gonna show that here. So I'm gonna go grab a map. Let's grab Jungle Valley. Let's grab a channel. We'll grab this channel, just chisel it up. You pretty much, let's not get hexproof though, because I just want to show like the full potential. Elemental weakest, feeble, temp chains. We're just trying to get a decent mod here. So for the most part, I will say we'll run this. This is like lower max res, added fire. We'll try it. Beyond. So the only map mods you really cannot run, in my opinion, are you can run Ellie for Reflect, but your totems will insta die. They literally will insta die. So it's just a pain in the ass. Are the no regen? You can run 60% less. That's fine. It doesn't hurt that bad. And then on a side note too, I guess I should show this. I totally forgot. Anoint for necklace. So there's a couple you could do. Like if you're forking, there's this one. Projectiles having a chance of additional fork 50%. That's good. But I used it and I liked it. But then my totems started dying. So I've been doing this and it's a cheap anoint. I think it's like, let me check Path of Builder. Ironwood. Yeah, it's a teal, amber, and clear. So you get this early. It just gives your totem so much survivability. It can literally stand in front of 30 yellows and heist nuking them, and I probably won't lose the totem. So I just say get Ironwood. That's what I believe. I think that's the best one for it. So just get some Ironwood. You'll be good. But let's go ahead and pop this. Let's show the demo really quick. Alright. See, we're just flame dashing across.
The corrupt shall fall.
Don't really need to even put Sigil down, not even like cold stabbing most of the time, because you don't need it. You really don't. I just have it. See, that's the clear on it. It's very quick. Feel like you're moving fast. You just hit your potions, because you always have them up for the most part. And I mean, the build can die. You still got to play it careful. I play it reckless, except softcore, and I don't care. I'm sure there's tankier hardcore variants you can do with more life, more resist, not running dumb map mods, extra damage, and max res reduction, but...
I must have time to gather my will.
Then we can pop the cold snap if you really want to. It's pretty quick too. Like the totems just target really well. It's chaining to things. Come back that way anyway. Pick it up. But I'm making this video just to show that it's not as weak as I think people think, and I think the Soul Mantle nerf threw people off on totems. I think people probably had a bad experience with Blazing Salvo early like I did, and they're like, shit, it just needs a couple levels, a couple supports, and then the projectiles start adding up, the Ascendancy helps, a little bit of gear helps. And I'm not blowing up in gear. Like, we're talking like maybe 8 exalts in gear I have on right now. And a lot of it's handcrafted and me slamming shit, so we haven't invested like a whole lot. So that's what I'm trying to just get the point across. I want to see more people playing this because I think it's very fun. It's very good. And who knows, if they think it's weak, they might even buff it. It might get some higher base numbers. I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm sure this works as mines very well too. See, I'm kind of playing like just reckless. You don't have to play like this, but it can do it. It can go in. You got a little bit of block, spell block. I've even debated, testing the brittle more, because I don't know how much brittle I'm actually getting, to be honest. Maybe getting rid of the diamond flask and putting a roomies in there. And then you're sitting at a pretty good amount of block. And you stack it on top of the boss and he's dead. That's that right there. So, we're gonna just dump these really quick. I can go through one more too. I'll do one more. We'll just show 2 maps. I like showing 2. We could try Jungle Valley. I don't mind it. That's fine. Try a little bit of Jungle Valley. Give it a try. This is a tier 16. And then we'll pretty much call it. But if you guys want to see more... Oh, God. 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. I just got to step away for a half second. I'll finish the video. It'll be 2 seconds. I know, but I'm recording. Sorry about that, guys. I hate doing that mid-video, but something came up. Okay, we're back. We're just gonna show this really quick.
My mana is spent.
Oh, it's not. Don't lie. Your man is fine, buddy. Alright, we're just gonna try and power through this, because I didn't realize I have something to do today. Not gonna even pick up stuff unless it's something crazy. Righteous return sash. Yeah, we're constantly just moving and casting, and we get to a safe spot once our turtles are down. We don't need to be in the fray of fighting. Like sometimes I'm teleporting in, but that's because I'm confident my turtles will kill them in time. You see the Herald of Ashburn effect. You see the forking. Like, it's definitely forking. And people saying it's not forking, I don't agree with that. And on bosses, we just put the sigil down. Can you see anything? No, but it hasn't been a problem yet. Alright. There we go, guys. That's the build. I hope you guys appreciate it. I tried to just bring out some knowledge that this is playable, and you can do it on budget for a long time and slowly get more and more gear. It clears quick. It does heist slow. You can follow me at twitch.tv slash Kaius3. That's with 3 I, so Kaiiius3. I stream most days. I don't always play Poe. I'm more of a variety streamer. But I'm probably going to be moving on to my next build, which is going to be a Hollowed Palm, most likely. But I hope you guys appreciate what you saw today, and you guys have a wonderful morning, evening, or night. Take care. Until next time.